Ethan had a strange habit. He always took an intimate photo of me during our moments of passion. This evening, he was exceptionally fervent, coaxing me into taking an embarrassingly explicit picture. Afterward, I blushed and chided him. "What got into you tonight? You can't stop admiring a single photo." Ethan didn't even look up, chuckling as he said, "Celeste is coming back tomorrow. If all goes as planned, this will be the last one, so of course, I have to keep it as a good souvenir." My body stiffened instantly, and I asked him blankly what he meant. Ethan tilted his head in confusion. What else could it mean? "The goddess I've been pursuing for 7 years is coming back to the country, so of course, I need to clean up my act and stop messing around with you. Eleanor, we're best friends. It's perfectly normal to fulfill each other's physical needs. You didn't actually fall in love with me after all these nights, did you?" With that, he tossed a pair of torn stockings onto my face. "All right, that wounded expression is getting a bit pathetic. As your buddy, I'll keep your photos safe. If isn't around someday, you're welcome to drop by for services again." My heart felt pierced by a sharp blade. It was then that I realized Ethan had never loved me. I was merely his, one of the guys. My body trembled uncontrollably, and my palms felt icy. With tear-filled eyes, I asked Ethan, "You said I'm just your buddy? Did you not like me at all these past 7 years? If he didn't like me, then why was he so possessive, never allowing any other man near me? Why did he cling to me day and night? Why did he coax me into taking one intimate photo after another? I thought Ethan and I already had an unspoken relationship as lovers." Ethan's impatient voice answered me, "Eleanor, I thought you were different from those clingy women. You're passionate and carefree. And you even agreed to let me take those photos. That's why I kept you around. You knew how much I liked Celeste. What's with the betrayed look now? I'm not exactly poor, and you had your fun for 7 years, didn't you?" It turned out that when a person is heartbroken to the extreme, tears simply don't flow. A profound sense of humiliation surged within me, and I let out a bitter, low laugh. Ethan and I grew up as childhood friends. I was introverted, but he had always been a bit of a troublemaker. He feared nothing, except he was always gentle with me. If anyone bullied me, he'd go trash their yard in the middle of the night. Gradually, I grew accustomed to his blatant favoritism. But then, when Ethan went to college, he fell in love at first sight with Celeste, the campus queen, and that favoritism vanished. He confessed his feelings to Celeste grandly, sending a truckload of roses to her dormitory. Even after multiple rejections, he refused to give up, so infatuated that he lost his appetite and sleep. The day Celeste resolutely left the country to study abroad, Ethan knelt at the airport for 3 hours in public, but he couldn't win her back. Soon after, Ethan got into a car accident due to his despondency. I saved him, giving him half my blood, and then, I took meticulous care of him, until that care led us to bed. When I woke up that day, I saw a pack of cigarettes empty beside Ethan. He didn't say anything, but he shed his and resumed his usual gentleness towards me. I thought he had finally moved on. I thought he had accepted me, but only now did I understand that it had been my one-sided wish all along. Things desired but unattainable in youth would haunt him his entire life. Even after 7 years, Ethan hadn't forgotten Celeste, the one who got away. As soon as she returned, he was eager to cut ties with me. He even specifically emphasized that I was just his, one of the guys. The tears I had been holding back finally streamed down. I clumsily pulled on my clothes, then turned and slapped Ethan hard. "Ethan, consider my 7 years of devotion wasted on you. From now on, you chase your goddess, and don't ever bother me again." "Eleanor, are you crazy? You behind me?" Ethan angrily tried to say something else, but I didn't want to see him anymore and rushed out the door. After crying bitterly at home, my emotions finally settled late in the morning. I hesitated no longer and called Caroline. "Mom, I agreed to the arranged marriage with the Liam family. You can discuss and set the wedding date. The sooner, the better. I've bought a plane ticket to France for 7 days from now." However, the next second, the door was violently pushed open. Ethan's sullen face appeared before me. "Eleanor, what arranged marriage?" I hung up the phone and calmly offered an excuse. Fortunately, Ethan didn't think much of it. Looking nonchalant, my face cold, I asked, "Why are you at my place?" Ethan slouched onto the sofa, crossing his legs. "Well, I want to throw a welcome party for Celeste. I remember she likes the sea, and your sea view mansion would be perfect. Can I borrow it for a day?" Ethan finished speaking assertively, then nudged my elbow. "We're best friends, aren't we? You wouldn't refuse to help a buddy chase his goddess, would you? Friends, always friends. Ethan mentioned it in almost every other sentence. Was he trying to warn me not to harbor any inappropriate feelings for him? Unfortunately, he was overthinking it. I was leaving soon. Fine, whatever you want. Too weary to argue, I turned and went upstairs, but behind me, a flicker of surprise crossed Ethan's eyes. The next day, as soon as I woke up, I saw the house filled with flowers, making it feel like a dreamland. Ethan said he planned to confess to Celeste here today, so he had to arrange everything with care. But I thought of a saying, love begins with a single flower. I had once believed Ethan and I were already a couple, so I hinted that I wanted some sense of occasion, like flowers, but had said, Eleanor, how old are you? We've slept together so many times. Why do you still want flowers? Aren't you being childish? Now, inhaling the pervasive scent of flowers, I finally understood. Ethan wasn't without a sense of occasion. It was just the difference between loving someone and not. 2 hours later, the welcome party began. Our mutual friends, along with Celeste, all arrived. After 7 years, her every move was still so elegant and graceful. Ethan's gaze seemed glued to her, as he constantly tried to strike up conversations. Finally, someone couldn't help but ask, Ethan, weren't you already with Eleanor? Ethan's expression changed, and he quickly snapped. What are you saying? Eleanor and I have a pure friendship. We're best friends, all right? Don't spread rumors. Besides, I like girls like Celeste, with soft skin and a sweet scent. Eleanor has a long, thick, centipede-like scar on her right waist. It's hideous. How could I possibly like her? My breathing hitched, and my fingernails dug into my palms. 5 years ago, Ethan, drunk from missing Celeste, got into trouble with some thugs. In that critical moment, I shielded him, taking a knife wound for him. Since then, a deep scar had remained on my right waist. At the time, Ethan's eyes were bloodshot, and he swore to heaven that his life would be mine forever. He would protect me for the rest of his life and never let me suffer any injustice. But now, to distance himself from me in front of Celeste, he publicly exposed my wound. Ethan, Eleanor is just a young woman. How can you speak about her like that? Celeste said softly when the atmosphere grew tense. Ethan tested in response, Eleanor? What young woman? She's thick-skinned and has a tougher mental fortitude than any of us guys. Don't worry, Celeste. We've known each other for so many years. Don't I know her? Right, Eleanor? With that, Ethan pinched the soft flesh of my inner thigh where no one could see, subtly telling me to go along with him. Disgusted, I slapped his hand away and said coldly, Ethan, are you joking? 7 years ago, you were discarded like a dog, and now, as soon as she's back, you're eagerly fawning over her again. You forgot how desperate you were back then so easily. When it comes to mental fortitude, who can compare to you? A hush fell over the entire room. Ethan's face quickly darkened to charcoal, his knuckles cracking as he clenched his fists. Then he snatched a wine bottle and smashed it on the floor. Eleanor. I glared back defiantly. Seeing this, everyone quickly tried to smooth things over, suggesting they play truth or dare to divert attention, as if to get revenge on me. Whenever Ethan picked a suggestive dare, he would always choose Celeste. But if he picked a truth, the question was always for me. Who do you dislike the most here? Of course, it's Eleanor. She's so old and still can't get married without even a single admirer. I thought her personality was decent, but it turns out she might have rage issues. What if you married the person you disliked most? I'd rather die than marry Eleanor. Even if I did, I'd be out partying every night, because facing someone you don't love every day is torture. After all these years, have you ever had a physical reaction to Eleanor? At this point, Ethan's face showed an expression of insult. No, who came up with such a disgusting question? What's the difference between Eleanor and a man? Forget about a physical reaction. I'd be disgusted just to touch her. I couldn't listen anymore. I smashed a wine bottle too, then excused myself to the restroom. As the cold water splashed on my face, I found I couldn't even feel sad anymore. Mostly, it was disgust. After a long period of calm, I pushed open the door to leave, but as I passed the balcony, I overheard Ethan talking to a guy. Ethan, you were really out of line just now. After all, you've slept with Eleanor so many times. Don't you have any feelings for her? Ethan lit a cigarette impatiently. How many times do I have to say it? I slept with Eleanor first, because she was obedient and let me do whatever I wanted. Second, because she was free. Why pass up a freebie, understand? I genuinely only see her as a friend. There's no romance between us. My steps, which had been moving away, froze. My already broken heart was shattered into 1,000 more pieces. I had known the truth. Yet hearing Ethan's confession again still felt like an agonizing, tortuous pain. "Ethan," I suddenly spoke, walking towards the balcony. Ethan froze, clearly not expecting my sudden appearance, and instinctively asked, You heard all that?" I didn't respond as the atmosphere grew increasingly strange. The other guy quickly found an excuse to leave. It was Ethan who finally broke the silence. He playfully crushed out his cigarette and walked towards me. "What, are you mad?" "There's no need to be, Eleanor. What I just said was the truth. What happens in bed is consensual, after all. If you didn't agree, I couldn't force you, alright? Stop looking so distraught. You make it seem like I bullied you." With that, he pinched my chin, actually making to kiss me. I pushed him away as if instinctively, then slapped him hard. "Don't touch me. You disgust me." Ethan was about to get angry but froze when he saw my tear-filled eyes. "Ethan, yes, I admit it. I like you. But that doesn't mean you can trample on my genuine feelings. I'm not a tool for your pleasure, to be manipulated at will. If you didn't like me, you could have just said so directly. I, Eleanor, am not someone who clings. From now on, I wish you and Celeste a happy family, and please, stop bothering me." With that, I turned and left without looking back. In the living room, Celeste's laughter, surrounded by others, could be heard, but seemed not to hear it, only staring blankly at my retreating back. For some reason, he felt uneasy, as if something very, very important was about to be lost. However, Ethan ultimately didn't think much of it. He scoffed and walked towards Celeste. He knew Eleanor's personality. It wouldn't be long before she came back begging for his forgiveness. After the welcome party, I called the cleaning service to clear the mess. That night, I slumped exhaustedly on the sofa when Celeste suddenly sent me a message and a video. "Eleanor, Ethan seems to be drunk." I clicked on the video and saw Ethan shirtless, his eyes hazy with intoxication. Murmuring Celeste's name, he kept repeating it, begging her not to leave. I instinctively tightened my grip on my phone, but a moment later, I deleted Celeste's contact. After all, they would just be irrelevant people to me from now on. However, I never expected it. When I woke up the next day, I found my intimate photos had been posted online. Eris's intimate exposed is really indecent. One by one, those photos Ethan had personally taken were brazenly exposed for all to see. My social media platform was instantly flooded with vulgar insults, and countless strangers messaged me, asking for my rates. My vision went black, blood rushed to my head, and I almost collapsed. How could this happen? Those photos, absolutely only Ethan had seen them. He had promised countless times, guaranteeing absolute privacy. He had pleaded and persuaded me for a month before I agreed to take them. Why were they now posted online? My mind raced, and I couldn't care about anything else. I floored the accelerator and sped to Ethan's place. But the one who opened the door was Celeste, dressed only in her pajamas. She looked at me strangely, an unsaid thought in her eyes. "Eleanor, while personal preferences should be respected, you're really a bit, well, as Ethan's friend, you should at least pay some attention to your reputation." I was so angered by Celeste's manipulative words that I couldn't speak. Just then, Ethan walked over. I quickly yelled at him, "Ethan, what's going on with those photos? Didn't you promise me you would never leak them?" Ethan froze. "Huh? What photos? Eleanor, what crazy fit are you throwing this early in the morning?" Seeing him still playing dumb, I grew even angrier and immediately showed him the trending topic. Ethan's eyes widened instantly. "How is this possible? All those photos?" Before he could finish, Celeste suddenly dropped and shattered a water glass. Her face was full of hurt and disbelief. "What do you mean? Ethan, Eleanor's photos, you took them? What's your relationship with Eleanor really?" Ethan immediately forgot about me, anxiously grabbing her hands and reassuring her. "How could it be? I have absolutely no relationship with Eleanor. These photos are her own indecent pictures. Don't be angry, Celeste." Celeste looked suspicious. "Really? Of course, it's true. Eleanor is inherently promiscuous and always plays around, which is why I hate being associated with her. Celeste, you're the only one in my heart. You were gone for 7 years, and I didn't even find another girlfriend. Doesn't that prove my feelings for you?" Celeste's expression softened, but I was struck dumb as if by lightning. "Indecent? Took them myself? Inherently promiscuous?" I never imagined such words would come from Ethan's mouth. My eyes reddened suddenly, and I stared at him intently. "Ethan, do you dare to say that again? Did I really take those photos myself?" Ethan, of course, didn't dare. He guiltily turned his head away, saying in a chastising tone, "Enough, Eleanor, stop clinging, it's really pointless." Pointless? I stumbled back several steps, then let out a bitter laugh, like a madwoman. I grabbed Ethan's collar, demanding he admit it. During the shoving and pulling, Celeste suddenly screamed and fell to the ground. "Eleanor, why did you push me?" When did I push? Before I could finish, a burning pain erupted on my face. It was Ethan. He had slapped me. "Enough. Eleanor, are you ever going to stop?" I froze. Ethan, who had slapped me, also froze. "No, Eleanor, I didn't mean to," Ethan instinctively explained, but then suddenly stopped, because he saw me rip off the treasured locket I had worn around my neck for 10 years and throw it violently to the ground. It was his birthday gift to me. I had worn it day and night, cherishing it immensely, never taking it off. But now, the locket lay broken in two. "Ethan, I'm tired. Let's just end this." With that, I turned and left. My face showed an unprecedented weariness. I could vaguely hear Celeste asking Ethan if he was going to chase after me. Ethan said there was no need. She brought it upon herself. It wouldn't be long before she'd come back to apologize. No need to waste time on irrelevant people. But was wrong, this time. I wouldn't come back. When I got home, William and Caroline called. They asked about the photos online. So I reluctantly told them about my 7 years with Ethan. William angrily wanted to rush to Ethan's place for an explanation, but I stopped him. "My sweet Ellie, don't be afraid. Just leave the online matter to William and Caroline. Don't go anywhere these next few days. Just rest at home. Tomorrow morning, William and Caroline will pick you up to go abroad." My nose stung with emotion, and tears fell. That night, I developed a high fever. When I woke up, I saw several missed calls from Ethan, and his messages. "Eleanor, it was wrong of me to hit you today, but you did push Celeste first, and those things I said were because Celeste was there, and I was afraid she would misunderstand me, so I had no choice but to say them. Of course, I know you're not that kind of person. We've been best friends for so many years. I know what kind of person you are." I looked at the words best friends, and I laughed through my tears. To hell with best friends. "Ethan, I don't want you anymore." I pulled out my SIM card and broke it, dragging my suitcase. I boarded the plane for France. The next day, Ethan stared at the empty message box, his brows furrowed. He didn't even hear Celeste call his name. Why did he feel so inexplicably uneasy? What was Eleanor doing? Was she still asleep at this hour? He couldn't help but send me another message. Just then, Celeste raised her voice slightly. "Ethan, I said I've agreed to be your girlfriend. Why aren't you reacting?" Ethan snapped back to reality, but before he could feel joy, he saw it. I had blocked him. Ethan's hand trembled, and a sudden surge of irrational anger filled his heart. For 7 years, when had he not had the final say between him and Eleanor? Eleanor, though occasionally a bit temperamental, would always make up with him after a casual word or two, let alone blocking him. She had never even raised her voice. Although he had been cold to her these past few days because of Celeste, he had already apologized. But not only didn't appreciate it, she actually dared to block him. Ethan had finally heard his dream goddess accept his pursuit, but at this moment, he couldn't feel happy at all. His biggest thought was to go find Eleanor and make her apologize to him properly, just like before. Ethan thought about it, and he actually did it. "Celeste, wait for me, I have something to deal with." He left an expectant Celeste standing there, completely oblivious to the shock in her eyes. "Stop." Hearing slightly hurried voice, Ethan was a little puzzled. "What's wrong, Celeste? I really have an urgent matter to deal with right now. Aren't you usually the most gentle, considerate, and understanding person?" Celeste's face turned pale, then green. She knew Ethan liked her delicate and unattainable beauty image the most, so she had always deliberately maintained that persona back then, if not to make Ethan obsessed with her, to leave an indelible mark in his heart. She wouldn't have chosen to go abroad. This return, she was determined to win Ethan over. But she never expected that when Ethan accepted her, he would be so nonchalant. It was as if his past love for her had all been an act. "Nothing. Just wanted to remind you to be quick. I've booked a restaurant for tonight." Celeste forced an ugly smile, and Ethan nodded, then eagerly turned to leave. He couldn't care less about dinner at the moment. He rushed to my villa as fast as he could. However, to his astonishment, the villa was empty. There was no sign of me. He tried contacting me on many other platforms but found that all his contact methods had been blocked. Even my phone number was a disconnected number. All these signs magnified Ethan's growing unease. Just then, his assistant called. "Mr. Ethan?" The things you asked me to investigate have been found. Ms. Eleanor's photos were indeed uploaded online through your phone. The release time was June 14th at 9 in the evening. June 14th? Wasn't that the day of Celeste's welcome party? At 9 in the evening. He had been dead drunk, and Celeste had taken him home. How could he have had the energy to upload photos? Wait, Ethan suddenly froze. That meant the only person who could have accessed his phone at that time was Celeste. And the password to his private photo album had always been Celeste's birthday. She knew it. With a crash, Ethan's mind went blank for a moment, feeling as if something he had always firmly believed in had shattered. The next second, the assistant on the phone continued, "Mr. Ethan? Just now, the family announced the arranged marriage with the Liam family, and Mr. Liam specifically sent you an invitation to the engagement. Do you want me to book you a plane ticket?" Arranged marriage? Ethan instantly gripped his phone tightly, veins bulging on his arm, and raised his voice. "Where did you get that rumor? Eleanor was just in my bed a few days ago. How long has it been? How could she possibly be getting married to someone else? Besides, she's always been madly in love with me, following me for 7 years without any status. How could she be willing to marry someone else?" Hearing's furious roar, the assistant paused, then hesitantly said, It's an official announcement from the Eleanor family. It can't be false. Besides, Mr. Ethan, didn't you say Ms. Eleanor was just your friend? How could she be in love with you?" "Sorry, Mr. Ethan, I spoke out of turn." The assistant dared not say more, but Ethan's angry expression froze on his face. Yes, he had only considered Eleanor a friend, so, who Eleanor married? What did it matter to him? Why was he so agitated? Ethan kept chanting calm down in his mind, but as soon as he imagined me in a wedding dress for another man, or playfully snuggling into another man's arms, a surge of inexplicable anger shot straight to his head. Anger, jealousy, irritability, all sorts of negative emotions made him almost grind his teeth. Damn it, without my permission, Eleanor can forget about marrying anyone else. Book the soonest plane ticket. No, take my private jet directly. I need to see Eleanor now. With that, Ethan made to leave. But just then, Celeste called him. Ethan hung up without thinking. Eleanor was about to become someone else's wife. How could he have any mind for romance with anyone else? However, Celeste wouldn't give up, the phone ringing incessantly. Finally, he answered irritably. But his tone was harsh. "Aren't you annoying? Didn't I tell you I had something to do? Why do you keep calling?" Celeste froze, stunned by his impatient tone. How could Ethan suddenly be so harsh with her? "Ethan, what do you mean? I heard you're going to France to find Eleanor. Why? Didn't you say she was just your friend, and you had no romantic feelings for her? Then why are you so nervous about her getting married?" "Ethan, I'm so scared. Scared you'll leave me. Don't go find her. Please stay with me, all right?" Celeste spoke as softly as possible, but didn't coddle her as she expected this time. His tone grew even more impatient. "Celeste, do you even know what's important right now? How can you throw a tantrum at a time like this? If really marries someone else, what will I do? Stop bothering me, or I'll block you." "Ethan, you're going to block me for Eleanor?" Celeste on the other end of the phone turned instantly pale, even swaying unsteadily. She angrily smashed a vase and demanded, "Ethan, what do you mean? What will you do? Are you so nervous now because you've fallen in love with Eleanor?" At these words, Ethan froze. Had he fallen in love with Eleanor? Ethan's mind uncontrollably replayed the 7 years of moments with me. Actually, Eleanor wasn't thick-skinned at all. Her skin was very soft and smooth. Otherwise, he, who had known so many women, wouldn't have been so captivated. When snuggled in his arms, he always found her incredibly adorable, and even felt an impulse to protect her for life. Anne's personality had no airs of a spoiled heiress. She was gentle, considerate, and knew all his preferences, whatever he liked, no matter how rare. Eleanor would find for him. He most vividly remembered his love for a rare collectible figure. He had only casually mentioned it, and Eleanor traveled long distances, flew abroad, and pleaded and persuaded relentlessly for 3 days to buy it for him. He had complained then about not seeing Eleanor for 3 days, but Eleanor wasn't annoyed at all. The moment she handed him the collectible figure with a smile, he even felt it was worth dying for her. But it was precisely because Eleanor was so good that he thought no matter how outrageous he was, Eleanor would never leave him. Celeste, to him, was the unattainable object of his youth, the one who got away, an obsession. To say how much he truly liked Celeste, that wasn't necessarily true. After all, It had been 7 years since they last saw each other. Even the deepest affection should have faded. He just wanted to fulfill a childhood dream, nothing more. He had never intended to completely lose Eleanor, and he absolutely couldn't lose Eleanor. Taking a deep breath, Ethan said softly yet firmly, "Yes, I've fallen in love with Eleanor." He loved her bright and proud demeanor. He loved her gentle and considerate nature. He loved her tender and adorable appearance. He loved all of her. He had been wrong before, hurting Eleanor, but they shouldn't, and absolutely couldn't, end like this. After all, Eleanor loved him so much too. So he was going abroad to apologize properly to Eleanor, to bring Eleanor back. Ethan, on the phone, Celeste let out a hysterical scream, even breaking his name. She no longer had any trace of her former composure. "Ethan, are you crazy? The one you love should be me, only me. What kind of love potion did that vixen Eleanor give you?" Ethan's gaze sharpened. "Celeste, shut up. Eleanor is not someone you can insult. Don't think I don't know. It was you who secretly used my phone to expose Eleanor's photos that night. Once I bring Eleanor back, I'll settle accounts with you properly." With that, Ethan decisively hung up the phone. He turned and boarded the plane for France. "Eleanor, wait for me." "France?" I tried my best to ignore the burning gaze fixed on me, but it was so intense that I couldn't help but speak. "Mr. Liam, is there something on my face? Why do you keep staring at me?" Liam chuckled. "My apologies, Ms. Eleanor. You're simply too lovely." I couldn't help but look a little longer. I was speechless, not understanding why Mr. Liam, the distinguished heir of the Liam, the Carmi de la Carmi of prominent families, would act as if he'd never seen a woman before. I didn't think I had known him previously. "Oh, Ellie. It's so nice that young Liam is so enthusiastic about you. You two are getting married soon. It's good to cultivate your relationship before the wedding." Caroline's eyes crinkled with a smile, subtly pushing me towards Liam. Before long, she left to give Liam and me some private space. The atmosphere grew silent. I cleared my throat. "Mr. Liam, you know how things are in our circles. Let's not talk about vague things like feelings. Naturally, our interests come first. After we're married, I won't interfere with your personal life. As long as you don't openly bring women home, I won't meddle, of course. The same applies to you. You mustn't interfere with my privacy. What I can guarantee is that the collaboration between the Liam and Eleanor families will never change." I thought I had spoken concisely and clearly, and Liam should be satisfied. But his face suddenly paled, and he even looked a little wronged. "Ms. Eleanor, do you think so little of our marriage? I will be your legitimately wedded." "Ah no, your rightful husband. How can we just go our separate ways?" I froze, scrutinizing him suspiciously. "We didn't know each other before, and we have no feelings. Are you seriously suggesting this? Arranged marriages between prominent families have always been like this, haven't they?" This really was strange. Liam paused, and his handsome face, comparable to a top celebrity, looked even more wronged. "Ms. Eleanor, I've waited 7 long years for this marriage. What?" Before I could finish, the villa door was suddenly violently pushed open. A gloomy and anxious voice called out, "Eleanor, you can't marry him." "Ethan?" I raised an eyebrow in surprise. At this time, shouldn't he be doting on Celeste? What did chasing me all the way to France mean? Ethan's eyes were bloodshot, and his gaze lingered on Liam, a clear flicker of jealousy in his eyes. "He's your fiancé? Don't be ridiculous. How many times have you met to talk about getting married?" "Eleanor, I'm the one who understands you best in the world, and I'm the one who loves you most. You'll only be happy if you marry me. Come on, come back with me. We can talk about our relationship slowly." I thought Ethan was probably, maybe, insane. What love? When had we ever had such a thing between us? Forcefully pulling my hand free from Ethan's grip, my tone was full of impatience. "What's wrong with the Eleanor family's security now? They're letting just anyone in, Ethan. You're the one being ridiculous. My marriage has been decided by our elders and cannot be changed. What do you mean by coming here and saying such nonsensical things?" Ethan paused, then, as if having made a decision, said firmly, "I'm sorry, Eleanor. I apologize for the pain I caused you. I honestly thought I only felt a friendship for you, that Celeste was the one I loved. But when I heard you were marrying someone else, I nearly went insane with jealousy. It was in that moment I realized that you were the one I'd loved all along. Celeste was nothing more than an obsession. Eleanor, punish me however you wish, but please, forgive me and come back with me. I promise I'll make it up to you and be with you properly." Ethan finished these heartfelt words and looked into my eyes expectantly. I, however, was somewhat stunned and didn't respond immediately. had just confessed his love? Perhaps, since he said he loved me, but the words I had longed to hear for 7 years now stirred not a single ripple in my heart. The who would grieve and be heartbroken over Ethan was long gone. Once I let go of everything from the past, looking back, it all felt worthless. He was nothing special after all. I couldn't even understand why I had been so foolish back then. For 7 years, he hadn't even said I like you. How could I not have noticed Ethan's avoidance? But I had simply been deceiving myself. I couldn't bear the sunk cost of my efforts, nor could I accept that the relationship would end without resolution. So I kept telling myself that Ethan was sincere, that he just didn't know how to express himself. But the moment I witnessed his clear favoritism towards Celeste, I couldn't even deceive myself anymore. True love should be passionate and grand, eager to declare itself to the entire world, not saying it simply means not loving. Ethan, no one waits in the same spot forever. Under his hopeful gaze, I spoke softly, just as I had countless times when consoling him in the past. Yet the words I uttered chilled Ethan to the bone. I don't love you anymore. In fact, I utterly despise you. Please stop bothering me. My wedding is in a month. We've been friends, after all. You're welcome to come. Friends? Some friend? Ethan froze as if struck by lightning, all color draining from his face instantly. The 2 words he had repeatedly warned me against now pierced his heart like a sharp blade. A bitter taste rose in his throat, and for a moment, he thought he might cough up blood. No, that's not it, Eleanor. We're not friends. We're lovers. I love you, and you love me most of all. We're not some damn friends. I truly know I was wrong. I behaved like a monster before, but now I genuinely love you. I really can't live without you, Eleanor. Please, I'm begging you. Come back with me, okay? Ethan was utterly humble, a stark contrast to his former arrogant self, but watching him desperately deny their friendship only struck me as laughable. Just a few days ago, I was the one breaking down in despair over those very words. Now, the tables had turned, and it was him. Some people are truly amusing. They only learn to cherish what they have once it's lost. If you don't leave now, I'll call security. Ethan tried to speak again, but Liam, who had been watching for a long time, stepped in front of me. Miss Eleanor doesn't welcome you, Mr. Ethan. It's pointless to keep bothering her. Who do you think you are? This is between Eleanor and me. It's none of your business. Jealousy almost spilled from Ethan's eyes. For years, he had never allowed any other men near me. At the time, he claimed it was for my safety, but in reality, he was just jealous, incredibly jealous. Liam's face showed no offense or anger. Instead, he spoke with the calm authority of a fiancé. I apologize, Mr. Ethan, but I am Ms. Eleanor's fiancé, so I naturally have the right to intervene. Jealousy, regret, despair. A myriad of emotions appeared simultaneously on Ethan's face, and I watched, thoroughly entertained. In the end, I called security and had Ethan escorted out, but he wouldn't give up and continued to harass me in the following days. Every day, he'd send me gifts in different ways, as if trying to compensate for the past 7 years of regret, especially flowers. He spent a fortune reserving every flower shop in the city and built a giant flower castle to propose to me. But I simply said, casually, it's an eyesore, have it taken down. That day, I saw despair on Ethan's face. There was nothing I could do. Some people, it seems, prefer to measure the depth of their love by the pain of losing it. Later, Ethan stopped appearing before me. I heard he returned to the country, and the first thing he did was have Celeste sent to prison for leaking and intentionally spreading another person's private information. Celeste's most prized academic record was utterly ruined. I saw Ethan again at my wedding. He did come, after all. Just when I thought he might try to stop the wedding, he unabashedly knelt before me. Eleanor, I'm sorry, I'm a rotten person. I know saying sorry isn't enough to make up for the pain I caused you, but please believe me, I truly loved you, and I always have. I know I no longer deserve you, but I sincerely hope you find happiness. Eleanor, I won't bother you again. Ethan looked at me one last time, then turned and left. His arrival didn't make a ripple. It wasn't until my wedding night that I asked Liam, so, why exactly do you like me? Liam told me a story. It was just like a cliché romance novel, where while the main characters endure a tumultuous relationship, the female lead always has a devoted second lead who quietly watches over her. Throughout all the years I spent chasing Ethan, Liam had always watched my back. On a lovely, ordinary afternoon, he fell in love with me at first sight. From then on, he began a 7-year wait. Thankfully, reality isn't a novel. The female lead ended up with the second lead, Liam said dramatically, making me couldn't help but let out a soft laugh. I knew that my life was just beginning. Thank you for watching this video. If you have any thoughts about this story, feel free to share them in the comment section.